Hey guys, thank you very much for tuning into another video of my life, and in this video we are going to do an unboxing of the watch, which is going to be the Casio W-734 AVEF. And here is the box, which I'll get to unboxing right in a second. Now, before we go into unboxing this watch, I'll give you a bit of a background as to how I came to purchase this one in the first place. And the story actually starts, believe it or not, 10 years ago. 10 years ago was when I was doing a very low-paid job, actually, and I needed a watch. And the first one I ever bought was this one, right here on my left hand. This particular one is the Casio W-752 Bravo Victor Echo Sierra. Okay, W-752 2BVES. And you can see that this one, it has a light in it, it's got 60 lap memory, it's got dual time mode, 10-year battery. So like I said, I bought this 10 years ago and the battery's still going. These aren't the original straps. The original strap broke, I think around here, and the pins were still fine. It's just that the strap broke, and I quite simply replaced it with an online kind of silicone one, and you can see that this has been doing the rounds absolutely fine. It's good quality. I bought this from eBay, actually, this strap, and this 10 years ago, how much did I pay for this watch? Now, 10 years ago, I paid for this watch £36. Okay, £36 10 years ago. And of course, it's been inflation since then, and so on and so on. So £36 10 years ago was probably like, God knows what, £50 or something this day and age. So, but since then, we've also had smartphones and so on. And so the prices of watches, these type of Casio Quartz watches, presumably have been reducing since then as well. You can't actually buy this watch anymore. And the reason for that is, I think that it's quite simply the replacement for this watch is this one right here in my right hand, which I'll get to unboxing in a second. This watch, I believe, was released in 2010. Okay, and this watch was released in 2011. So I bought this one in 2014, 10 years before the recording of this video, approximately. Like I said, my first watch. You can see it's kind of got a couple small scratches here and there. It's been very, very thoroughly used, but at the same time, I take care of my watches so they don't completely kind of go all knackered and stuff with billions of scratches where you can't even end up reading the dial in the first place. So you can see that it's missing one of the buttons on this side. Okay, and how did that happen? So coincidentally, one day, this is around the same time my watch strap kind of broke and stuff, it fell off my hand and coincidentally dropped exactly on the button, like so, exactly on the button. And then the button was a bit loose, and a couple of days later it just came off. The notch at the bottom, which clips onto this steel pin right here, was broken, so it completely came off. I'd still been using it since that day, although pressing this does kind of hurt your finger a little bit, not too much. So I can press it like so, and you can see it still works more than 10 years later. Remember, this has a 10-year battery. But the watch in itself, in terms of functionalities, etc., is perfectly fine. So, of course, I was washing my car the other day with this particular watch, which has 100 meters water resistant. But the dial started to fade towards the end of it, and it wasn't on pretty much towards the end of it. But I could kind of see it was still sort of working. I left it a couple of days in one of my rooms, which gets a lot of sun, and lo and behold, it kind of started working again completely fine, and that's a testament to Casio quality. So, you know, they say it's going to last 10 years. It has lasted 10 years. The LCD still works, the light still works. You can see the LED never replaced the battery, used it very thoroughly, and only because the buttons cracked have I had to replace it. And even then, when the water got in and it stopped working for a bit, it started working again. So that's a testament to quality as insofar as Casio is concerned. And I have to say, Casio, as far as I'm concerned, is my favorite watch brand. So having done the research all over again to say, okay, now I need to find a replacement for this watch. Which watch is it going to be? Coincidentally, of course, price to value is important to me. I also wanted the dial to be in the center. I don't like it when the, sorry, apologies. I wanted the time to be in the center. I don't like it when the time is at the bottom here or at the top here or something else like that. It's weird to read. I just want it right in the middle. So when I look at my watch, the first thing I see is the time, or at least the main thing, like this one, for example. But here's the dual time, which I've kept the same, the stopwatch. But the main thing is just in the middle. I don't want it read it here, or anywhere else. Okay. It's also nice to have the year on there, and you can tell the date and the month and everything else here as well. And by the way, this is like an American format, so this is the 6th of August, okay, 10 o'clock 2024, rather than the 8th of June, as we might do in the UK as well. Here's the back, okay. I just think it's interesting, and there's a reason I'm showing you this watch first, because, you know, this is the one that I bought the first time ever, and then 10 years later, after having done all my research from a price, value, features, ergonomics perspective, which watch have I concluded to purchase? Basically this one again. But the difference is you can't buy this one anymore, so you end up buying this one, which is launched a year after. I think it kind of looks better anyway. They have managed to reduce the weight. I think this is like I'll confirm the weights and stuff exactly in a couple of seconds for you. In fact, let me just try and do it now if I can. So this one is 43 grams, and the one that I'm about to unbox is 38 grams. And you'll see in a second where they've saved that weight, in my opinion. But you can see solidly built. The only thing that broke was the strap that they sent original with. It's kind of a rubber strap, but I think it does get kind of baked in the sun and gets wet and dry and wet and dry, and then it does kind of break eventually. So that's the only thing I would say they can improve in quality wise. But of course, I've given it a new lease of life with this silicone watch strap, which has worked perfectly fine. And if I have this similar kind of issue with this one, guess what? I'll just put this one on that as well. In terms of specifications and things like that, I would suggest you just search for them online, to be honest with you. They're relatively easy to find, but I won't give you the specs on this one. Excuse that noise, but I will give you a specs on this one in a second. Okay, and also it's a nice thing, but here is the original box for this watch from 10 years ago. Here you go. Okay, with the manual included. I still have this little bit of dust here, you can see. So I never threw this away. I found it especially for this unboxing again of the watch. You can see it's got everything in there, the manual, and you can do a side-by-side comparison of the old model. Coincidentally, the old box actually looks newer than the new box, but you can see here side by side, like so, and on this side as well. Okay, I just think this is interesting because it's the same model, remember, and you don't often get a person who has the original box from 10 years ago for some watch that they purchased, and then they end up buying the later model of the same one, which we'll get to the unboxing in a second. I will also leave timestamps in the description or in the comments, so people can just skip to this part as well if they wanted to. But for those who are interested in the journey, who like the fact that I've still got the original label and stuff from 10 years ago, they got their little bit. So let's do this unboxing. It is a virgin unboxing, so I've not seen what's inside the box myself. I should also mention that in terms of a price point of view, this watch these days anyway costs £20. So like I've mentioned, this watch I paid about £35 10 years ago. Now I'm paying £20, so less than 2/3 of that price, with all the inflation, everything else included. And that's because obviously people have been maybe shifting towards smartwatches, or maybe something else like that in terms of the gym and things, or more sophisticated watches. But these watches work perfectly fine. Also, in terms of my use of this watch, it is pretty much, I mean, this one was then replaced by this watch, which is one of my most viewed videos on my channel. Okay, right here. So if you want to see more about this watch, you can check out the other sort of video on my channel. But after I bought that one, this is pretty much just used in the gym, pretty much for my sets, reps, and how many seconds have passed. So I'll just do, like, I've just finished an exercise, boom, I started. Maybe I want to wait for 30 seconds. Once this hits 30 seconds, boom, I start my next rep, and then I'll maybe stop it and reset it like this. It also has, in terms of the design, it's got lap memory and stuff. These two are pretty much identical apart from weight. Okay, so the features are exactly the same. So maybe I'll talk about some of the other features of running on this one. Okay, so get this unboxed. Okay, nice. The first time I'm seeing this as well, the time is 7:44 and 31 seconds. I can read it in there. Okay, let's just get a close-up view. We've already done a tour of the outside, but you know, there we are, that's the top. So Casio, even with the inexpensive watches, so to speak, they always package it relatively nicely, okay, like this, with the foam, with the polythene. You would never look at this watch and think that it's either low quality or they've scrimped too much. You always get value for money, I think, from a Casio point of view, especially including quality. On this side of things, you have the manual. Now, the question is, how do I get to the manual? Is it from this side? I'm not sure. But, okay, let's try and go from this side. So, yeah, there we are. So that's the manual as well. Okay. See, quite a thick piece of kit there. And there's health and safety shoved in the middle there as well. Oh, it's a warranty card, actually. So there's all the features. You can get the PDFs of these manuals online as well, but it is really nice touch for them to include this in the box. Of course, I don't think maybe they do this. Does Casio still do this? Do they still give you a manual? They probably just save the money now and just say go to the website for the PDF document. But this was 10 years ago, remember, when this, 13 years ago in this case, when this watch was released. So that's the foam thing which keeps its shape and keeps it safe during transport. Okay, let's go a little bit like that. Nice. Okay, let's get this unboxed now. So you can see the label over here. Okay, right there. The other side. Okay, take this off. It's got that classic kind of plasticky bit covering a little pouch there. Put this aside as well somewhere else. And then we have a nice clear look at the label. You can see that these two models are basically the same. Okay, so there's only minor differences in terms of font type. Okay, so this one is more sharper, if you like. You can see the dial has been extended in terms of its viewing field, although the font is different. The letterings are also larger compared to this one. And the rest of the features are pretty much the same. Even the LED, you can see, comes from the side. But this one does look, to my eyes, a bit green. Let's see if it is. No, it looks yellow. But you can see the yellow color here, sort of yellowy. Oh, actually, it looks yellowy in the camera, but to my eyes, definitely has a green tint to it. And with this one, I would say it's actually the same color, roughly the same color. Yeah, pretty much. Roughly the same color, greenish kind of yellow, I would say. It also has a feature where with the light, it's got the tilt feature, where this one, if you tilt it like this, it'll turn on the light automatically. And you can see here in this window, it's got alarm on this side, the signal, as well as snooze. And then this feature is the auto light. Okay, so you've got the snooze, signal, which I think is whether it makes sounds or not, and then alarm. On this side, you can see it hasn't got that. So you get the larger screen, the crisper font, the sharper, the squarer, rather than the kind of round-edged one. But at the same time, you can see that you are missing these features, whether the alarm is on or off. Maybe there's some other way they indicate those things. Okay, so those two are the two watches side by side. The edge here, you can see it kind of reflects a bit because of how the resin is there. In this case, in this one on the left, there is no reflection. But other than that, you can see they're probably identical. Now, this part missing maybe doesn't really bother me too much. We'll see over time how that works out. I'm also going to take this screen protector off. There we are, that's off. Okay, of course, mint crisp right here. There are some other videos online which you can see in terms of how you can use the manuals and so on. But we'll go to different modes. Sounds like this. And same on this side. So you can see it pretty much sounds the same as well. It is indeed, I would say, the same watch, but this just looks a little bit better, a little bit modern, I would say, than this one. But this is pretty much fully plastic, whereas this has a little bit of metal. And I think it's just by changing the metal into a plastic is where they've saved some weight. The strap design is also exactly how it was originally on this side. This doesn't change. And I would still say that if you bend this one too far, I think it's going to snap. Whereas this one, you can bend it no problems because it's a silicone strap, which is tougher, obviously. In terms of specifications now, because I know some people care about those sorts of things and it's important to them. So here it is. Like I said, it's model year is 2011. It's a round dial. The dial window is acrylic, which is basically a plastic. It's 42 millimeters in terms of the case diameter. It's considered a unisex watch. I don't think there's any issues with male or females wearing this, but mostly I would say it's the men that's going to wear a watch like this, in my opinion. But absolutely see no issues with anyone wearing this watch. The case thickness is 14 millimeters, and the band material here is resin. Band width right here is 18 millimeters, which is very sort of common, so that you shouldn't have any problems finding a replacement strap if this one breaks. It's of course blue, and the dial is considered multicolor, so you've got black and white here and slightly different color at the bottom, but mostly it's pretty much black and white, isn't it? So you can see that once you set the time and date on this, you'll never have to set it again pretty much, apart from adjusting for daylight saving and stuff, which you have to do it on this one as well. So once a year, twice a year, you'll have to change it, of course. But of course, if you have this watch, it's radio controlled. In a country like UK, you don't have to change the time once you set it. In fact, you don't even have to set it. It just picks up the time from the radio signal. I have never set it up myself again. There we are. So those are, in terms of weights, I think I already mentioned, it's 38 grams. It's a quartz movement, and it's 10 bar or 100 meters of water resistance, which you can see here in the corner, WR 100 meters. Okay, and this one is also 100 meters, and this is why I picked these watches, because I used to swim in them and stuff like that as well, so it's good for swimming. This watch in reality is actually specializes in kind of serving you if you're a runner. So it has lap memory, 60 lap memories. It'll kind of split it in your best times as well, so which one is the shortest, quickest lap you did, and so forth. It also has a pace. I'll show it to you just here. I've never used these features, by the way, but you can set a pace here. So up to 200, it does go down to 100 as well. So of course you can turn it off. This is off, this is 100. And then you can, funny enough, if you press the top one, it goes down. If you press the bottom one, it goes up, but it is what it is. So I'm going to turn it off because I don't need it, but actually let's keep it on. And then if I just press adjust again, okay, go to a different mode, you can have sound on and off. There you go. So now it's giving you a pace. So when you're running, you can do step, 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 or step, 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 step. Okay, like with the keep up the pace. You're going to turn this off, of course, for now, go into a different mode, and you can also put in your stride length. So if you turn, this is, remember, this is just like a small computer, but it's a manual calculator rather than using GPS or anything fancy like this. So if you set your stride at 40 centimeters, for example, and you say, I'm going to do 100 strides per minute, it's going to work out in that case, well, how long did you run for? And then it'll give you the result in kilometers. Okay, so it'll say, okay, you did this many kilometers and that many kilometers and so on. It's centimeters. You can even do in inches. There you go. It does imperial. And then in that case, my guess is that it will do it in miles for you. Okay, so nice. It's got imperial as well as you got metric in there, so that's nice, isn't it? Okay, buttons here. Close up for you. Close up of the case as well. Okay, just take your time. The lap memory is raised to the touch, but I can see that it's very nicely printed. There's no flaws, but what else do you expect from Casio? You can see here the seals are very nicely done. The band does feel a bit kind of tough, if you like, in terms of its bendiness, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable in terms of its touch. It's very nice. Okay, this bit here is plastic. You can see this bit here is metal, so that, well, this is a replacement strap actually. Now that I think about it, I think the original was also plastic, and of course plastic is more brittle, but like I said, no issues with replacing the strap. Let's do the view of the back. Here it is, and if you're interested, the old one looks like this. Okay, they've obviously said, well, we don't need all this other bit here, you know, adjust set when it's already there in the front of the watch. They've taken a similar approach here. The adjuster is actually recessed, as you can see, compared to the lap memory, so even it's less likely to fade away. And you can always kind of read it maybe at a reflected angle, even if the white does disappear. So that's been the unboxing with some words, what it was before, what it was upgraded with. There's the small window isn't here, but I'm not sure how it kind of works or doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can't buy this one anyway, really. I'm not sure if the light one does have the automatic feature or not, but maybe you can, again, does that matter? I always kept it off so that I'd have the 10-year battery, and it's worked just fine. But if you do have features like that, I'm sure you can turn it on and off in the mode. Okay. Yeah, that didn't do anything. Let's press this. Yeah, it did something there. I'm not sure what. LT. No. Yeah, see? There you go. See how it turned it on? Look, just from the tilt. So it's pretty much the same watch with the same features, with even the light tilt and so on. So I'm sure it's got the snooze, alarm, everything else like that, but just the difference is that you don't have this little window telling you which mode exists. You'll probably just have letters instead which do that, without this little circle in the corner, which probably for most people is hard to read anyway, to be honest. So this probably simplifies the dial a bit and makes it easier to read than this one. So Casio probably made the right move with that. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please do leave a thumbs up, a like, put some comments in the comment section below, as well as subscribe to the channel. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.